My name is Mercedes Hess, and I am a peer recovery coach at Superior Connections. We are in Colorado Springs, 617 South Nevada, right across from the police station. I've been with Superior Connections since January 10th is when I got here. We are sober based, but we aren't just a sober living house. We are transitional living. You know, there's a lot of different things that can produce chaos and trauma in your life that causes you to go off the rails and end up in a place you never thought you would. A lot of different walks of life come in here, but sobriety is a key element to our program. I live in-house with 32 participants. I'm here night and day. I get a really in-depth look at these people's lives. People go home from work and I'm here. We did just open our second building on North Nevada, so we're on South Nevada. We're doing our best and we're doing it right. When I got here January 10th, we were not making money, but we were still housing all these people, still helping all these people. They had been searching for beds at different places and they didn't have $900 and so I'm sitting here with this application. They're sitting there holding their breath thinking, okay, here's another place that I'm gonna not have the money to get into. And we're just like, okay, well, if you just follow them, they'll take you upstairs, get you in your bed. If we had the availability and you're in front of us, we were putting people in beds, and it was rapidly changing people's lives. Just that hand up, dude, just the hand up that showed them that it's possible. I mean, it wasn't about money, it was about belief in what we were doing, and for that reason, it's not easy to not bring home a paycheck. I was very blessed to live here, so it was a little bit easier for me to endure the time of not making money. For a lot of the other coaches, you know, they had bills to pay and they were still coming to work every day, and we really are putting in the work that we're billing for and that we're helping people. So I'm really proud of where I work. So I do groups at 9 a.m. We usually have 22 to 30 people in group. As an intern, I initially sat through the groups and we went through a few group leaders. What have you lost? What are you gaining? Let's talk about the drugs. Let's talk about all the people you've hurt. Let's rehash all these things. And it got to the point where it was like, it kind of got repetitive. And I didn't want that to be how my groups were. I wanted to feed people, feed their minds. So we've been reading books. Done the Shadow Work Journal with Carl Jung, The Power of Now, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, The 4 Agreements, A Gentle Reminder. Right now we're working on the Awaken the Giant Within, giving people different authors, different voices, different people that might resonate with them, because, you know, there are different speakers that I can't hear them no matter what they're saying, but there are other speakers that'll say the exact same thing and I'm just like, I hear them, dude. Not just read, not just start, but finish books, which is something that a lot of us struggle with in our addictions. We start things and we don't finish them. I've seen a lot of growth in people that, you know, we're kind of hell-bent on not participating. Like, okay, we have to go to these groups, but I'm not going to learn anything. And then as they, you know, got further and further into it, their half sheets where they, you know, talk about what they got from the group started to change a little bit, and it's just a glimmer of hope that shows that these people are learning something from this, they're gaining something from this, and it's working. Some of it does touch on a few religious beliefs. It does mention God, and we are not a religious-based organization, but we don't stray from it. You know, whatever works for people, whatever's working for people, we fully support. I want to be available for everyone. So yeah, of course we touch on a few things that are a little bit more spiritual and, you know, some that aren't. So when I got here, dude, I thought I could save the world. and then I hit my first little round of disappointments. And it was hard. Burnout is real. You have to have balance. And so I go down to Denver pretty much every weekend, Saturday through Monday. And I spend time with my kids. I spend time with my family. We don't require our participants to choose a coach. Some days you're going to want to talk to me because I'm disgustingly dripping in positivity most of the time. But some days you're going to want to talk to Wendy. She's our resource diva on our Walking Heart. Some days you're going to want to talk to Joey. He's been through some suicidal things. He's a veteran, so he's going to be somebody that you talk to about different things and you're going to talk to me about. We do not require you to choose a coach, and we all kind of pick up the load when someone else needs their couple of days. So I was an addict for, probably about a decade. I stopped liking to look in the mirror. Dude, I stopped liking myself. I stopped liking who I was. I stopped wanting to get ready. I lost pretty much everything for it, and I decided on November 2nd, 2024 to get sober. I was 4 days sober when I ended up in jail. And I always remember as a kid my parents telling me that, don't call us. If you get yourself in jail, you better find your way out because you got yourself in there. So I hadn't called my parents any other time I'd been in trouble, but this time just felt different. I was 4 days into my sobriety. I was once again in jail, which felt crazy to me because I'm trying to do better. And so I called my mom, and I could just hear her disappointment as I told her that I needed them to bail me out. And I really didn't think they were going to do it, but I told them I was sober, and they did it. When I got out a few days later, I was just sitting in a place where we would all do drugs, and I just said I was done. I had smoked with them earlier that day, and they were passing around the bong, and I'm just like, no, I'm okay, I don't do that anymore. And they're just like looking at me like I'm a crazy person. But change doesn't take a whole lot of time, dude. Change takes one little second. Previously this morning was that, now I'm not that. I was finally doing it for myself. I had a period of time where I got sober for my children. My children were on the line, and of course it was without question. So I got sober for that period of time, closed that CPS case, and then I relapsed, dude. If you're not doing it for yourself, you are doing it for someone else, then a stressing situation. My justification for it was that I needed to get Christmas presents for my kids, and there was no way that I was going to pay rent and be able to get Christmas presents unless I did some criminal stuff. And if I needed to do criminal stuff, then of course I needed to do drugs because I couldn't do it sober. So that was my justification. And what a horrible one, dude, to use your kids as a reason why, I have to relapse. So that was a pretty eye-opening point in my life where I realized that, I am not where I need to be mentally to have done this for myself, and until I'm there, I'm not going to complete this, dude. I'm not going to do it. And I didn't reach out for the support that I needed when I first got sober. I still, kept everybody at arm's reach because I was almost anticipating myself relapsing. So I didn't want to get too close or make people too proud of me because I knew I wasn't done doing drugs. The moment that I let everybody back in is the moment that the connections happened. Because the opposite of addictions is connections. My family and my friends, and it was hard to turn back. There's no real turning back now. Like there's too many people watching. But I owed people proof of progress, so I started making videos on my Facebook at 7 Days Sober. I looked like hell. My first video, dude, what I thought was going to be my worst day of my life, admitting to 7,000 followers that I was a meth addict, and I was, struggling with, sobriety, and I was 7 days sober, and it was hard. Still emotional to this day because it's, that was my biggest thing about being an addict was I didn't want people to know that I was an addict. So I didn't want them to see that that's who I really was, and I wasn't this perfect person that I was projecting on social media, which is what a lot of us do. By doing that, I started making videos every single day, and I started getting so many messages from people that I didn't even know. I didn't know that people fell into same addictions that I did, some worse than others. And then my friends started dying, friends that I hadn't talked to in a long time, and I started to realize just the grasp of addiction. That it didn't just hit me. I wasn't just a stray bullet. Like it hit everyone, and we all kind of just separated and isolated, and there was a lot of shame involved. I think if we would have just used social media to help each other and support each other, that we probably wouldn't have spent so long or lost so many people along the way. I'm excited to hopefully help some people that feel like maybe sober living's not for them. Maybe you're too different, or you don't look the right way, or your gender identity is different than others, and maybe you feel like you're not going to be able to be yourself, and this is a place where you can do that. I hope that this in-depth look really helps people to see that there's different kinds of people everywhere. We'd like to walk people through their recovery, not in front of them, not behind them, but next to them, and help them take back their lives, which they are very capable of doing. We're not here to sugarcoat anything or say it's going to be easy, but we are here to let you know that you're not alone, that we do have connections here to make. It's very possible for anyone to take their lives back, dude. And anybody watching this can do it. Over the year that I've done this, understanding when people aren't ready, understanding when people aren't ready to get sober, and we sat in the office, we talked, it sounded good, they said they were ready, they said all the things, and then they left. Because I do live in the house, to watch people come and go has been difficult, because people are not always going to be ready no matter how much you want it for them and how much they seem to want it at the moment. There's trauma and there's triggers and there's things that, some people are not as strong in their sobriety as others. You're going to need to be prepared for a little bit of disappointment. There are a lot of organizations that are doing peer support right now, but we're the only organization that's really offering housing. There is a few organizations that are now getting housing in a place, but we've been doing it for over a year now, and we're taking people where they're at and we're bringing them off the streets. And it's one thing to have an organization running from 9 to 5, work hours, but addiction doesn't keep hours. Recovery doesn't keep hours. They're going to need help 24/7, 365. So I think we do feel a pretty big gap in the community, because that's the problem that we're running into. The homeless community is being pushed out of where they're at, but to where? There's not, like, if we're getting down to the core of what's really happening, these people are not all primary addicts. They are secondary addicts who fell into homelessness and picked up addiction because there's things you have to do to cope and bear. Like, living outside is not something that you do with a level head. It's a horrible situation. It's a horrible experience. So doing drugs kind of goes hand in hand with that. So if we start helping people at the core, of where it all starts, and stop trying to move them from place to place or make homelessness illegal. That's crazy, dude. These are people. If we help people where they're at, we can really start to make some changes in the community. When I first went to my sober living, Mountain West in Denver, it was very structured. I did not have a lot of extra time, and I think that was necessary for me when I first started, because idle hands, right? So I was at groups a lot, and then my second sober living was really lax and later curfew, and I was ready for that. I had gotten the distance between me and the drug long enough that I felt like I could handle those responsibilities of being out later and things like that. Our organization, we put the power with the people. We're here to walk with you through this storm, but we are not here to babysit you. We believe that you know the rules, and you follow the rules, and we're not gonna hover over you, and we're not hurting cattle or children. We're just helping you get your life back and giving you a stable place. Because a lot of times people just need a stable place to lay their head. They don't need help with anything else. And if you do need help with that, with other things, we have resources. We have people that you can talk to. But we provide the groups. We provide the mind nourishment. And we expect you to get out there and get it. Success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. Someone's life is in crisis over here, but then this person over here is telling you that because of you, their life is saved. It's ups and downs. We have some of the craziest things have been brought to me in this building, and we go with the flow. We combat them as we get them, and then we bounce back. We've had some really crazy things happen here. We kind of just moved forward as a well-oiled machine. We don't always get it right. And living in a household, we are co-ed. That's a whole new list of things that could possibly go terribly wrong. To everyone's surprise, no, we've done pretty successful with the co-ed thing, and I think it helps to make it real, dude. You're not going out into the world with a bunch of just females or just males. Like, this is real life, and if we're transitioning, we need to have it real. There is obviously a horrible stigma to addiction and even recovery. If people assume that because you were once an addict, you could be an addict again. But I think that it's becoming more safe for people to come out and talk about struggles that they're having. There's more conversations about it, and there's just more people that are feeling more confident to speak up. I came down here with my boyfriend Paul, and he worked for about 5 months here with us, but like I said, we weren't making money. He had a truck payment. He had his beautiful daughter that he was used to spoiling, and he was stressed. And they're kind of got a little bit of a resentment toward the program because what I was like, oh my gosh, this is everything, dude. This is it doesn't matter. The money doesn't matter. But to him, he's like, okay, I'm 5 months behind on my truck payment, so I don't know what world you're living in, but. Yeah, so, there was a small altercation. He ended up, and it should have been resolved easily, but it was his way out. and I let him. You know, I've known Paul for 20 years, and I love him to death. So I let him go, and he stopped answering his phone. 5 days later, we put out a missing persons report. A few days after that, and searched. We found his truck running with his dog inside in Broomfield, and we did multiple searches. His family, we went down, and we found his body 4 months later at the trailhead in Coal Creek Canyon. And they've determined it as undetermined, so we don't really have any answers. But these are true tests of can you continue to guide people when you go through a traumatic situation? Can you continue to be their beacon of light when you are not feeling very light, dude? So losing Paul was probably my biggest test and my biggest realization that I was in the right place. So it was a process in showing everyone around me that whatever you're going through, you can get through without relapse.
Has there been a transformation that you witnessed that has stayed with you?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. I've had a few. One of them will be one of the first people I interview. Super proud. Sorry. Sorry. Super proud of her, and she's come a long way, dude. There's been a few people that have gone through the program that have just been, I'm so proud of. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud to see where their lives are now, to see them, you know, they've made it to sobriety, but they are still here because there's a sense of connection and home and love, and it's different. I see the fear in some people that are moving on to something more positive, and not that this is negative, but this is a transitional house housing 30 people. It's not a luxury hotel. Mm-hmm. So but I've seen people literally, no matter if they're moving on to something better or not, feel a hesitation because they've, you know, the time that you spend in this building is special, dude. We don't always get along. We, you know, they come to me with the craziest things, but when we sit in group every morning, it's beautiful to see people growing and people making friends and making connections and feeling a sense of pride in where they live, to where they're, you know, not being nagged about their chores, and, you know, just growing as people, because we have to remember that these people are coming from somewhat of a feral state. They're coming in, they don't know that they need a shower every day. Like, I know that's crazy to think about, but showering every day, hygiene, changing your clothes, washing your clothes, cleaning up the trash around your bed. Like, these are all things that we're reteaching these people. It is trying at times. It's difficult. I would like to give these people a face. You know, there's a lot of organizations that have really nice websites, and they're really well made, and there's really nice pictures, and everybody's posing, and it's great. But that's not, I mean, you can look at 100 websites and not feel any more comfortable about going to a sober living or a transitional housing. This is an opportunity for people to not just feel like they're a faceless number in this organization, because they're not. We would not be anything without these people. So I want them to have that opportunity to give their testimony, to give their story, to talk about what's been difficult, what's been different, what's been easy, you know, and why this time is different. I just think it's a valuable opportunity to, you know, see them when they're first coming in, see them about 6 months in, and then hopefully see them a year out and see what's changed, how they've changed, and how this program has helped them. If I can do this, you can do this. Kicked my ass, dude. I decided that enough was enough, and there is support out there, and it's not boring to be sober. It's actually quite fun. Anybody's capable of getting sober, no matter how many years you've been doing it, how hardcore you've been doing it, what you've been doing. There is always a way out. We are available 24/7, or just pop in. If you don't have a phone, show up. So if you guys need to just drop in for some support, some clothes, some food, a shower, come on in. We're here.